Let me know if this sounds familiar to you. You are young, you've seen a lot of self improvement videos, or you've seen a lot of people with a lot of success online, and you want that. You want the success. You don't exactly know what it is that they do fully, but you want that level of success. You want that level of freedom. So you start trying to figure out how to get it. You start to hear about discipline, things like, meditation, things like grit. You start hearing a motivational speech here and there, self improvement video, or a podcast, and you start to do some of the things, right? You start to preach to yourself on discipline, consistency. You start to think in terms of, okay, like, how am I using my money? How can I make more money? Um, you start to think about, okay, how can I be better socially? You just start thinking about ways that you can be better, ways that you can kind of optimize based off the things that you've heard. And you start doing that, but it's like there's this massive anchor just holding you back. There have been plenty of times when you've been able to lock in and really do some work that you're proud of. But then there are also times where there's work that you need to be doing, and it seems like you can't focus to save your life. It feels like you know that you're capable of so much more than you're doing, but for some reason you just can't do it for long enough, or hard enough, or consistently enough to make it last, to really build the success that you want. If any of that resonates with you, welcome to the club. I feel the exact same way. My name is Jared, 20 years old, college student, and my whole life I've been like a student, pretty much like most people in the United States. You follow the traditional path of, you start school when you're like 5, and you go up through school, and school's the most important thing in the household. So you do well. You're kind of like an identity is shaped by school. Even if you're good at it or bad at it, your identity is shaped by how you are in school. Maybe, you pick up a sport or a club that tends to kind of that fuses with who you are. But at the end of the day, it's all in service of going to college, getting a good job, having a career. And nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with that. And that's how my life has been. I'm a junior in college right now, about to be senior. And in the past year, I've had some experiences that's kind of left me wondering, why am I doing this in the first place? Like, I'm not 8, I'm not 12, I'm not 15 anymore. Like, I don't have to do this. I don't. It's one of the things that I firmly believe in. I believe in free will. I can do whatever it is that I want to do, and I can achieve anything that I set my mind to. Like, the world really is my oyster. I just believe that. Um, but now I'm just wondering, why am I still doing this? I came into college wanting to be an engineering major because I like math, I like physics, and I wanted to build things. I wanted to create things that made people happy. And I've at the top of this year, I was very much depressed and anxious. I didn't do well in my classes last semester. As a matter of fact, I failed every single class last semester, all of them, because of personal issues in a past relationship, just all kinds of things. And I began to notice patterns in people, patterns where if you take a person and they don't feel secure, or they don't feel loved, or they don't feel supported, or they don't feel confident in themselves, they don't feel fulfilled in whatever it is that they're doing, you create a person who just doesn't like their life. And being around a person who does not like their life makes you not like being around that person. It hurts relationships. It hurts basically everything that that person can touch. Because if they're not satisfied with what it is that they're doing, they're not gonna like what they're doing. The people that they do it with aren't going to like doing it with them. And I thought about all of that. I experienced all of it. I was the person that didn't like their situation, and I was around people that didn't like their situation. And now I'm asking myself, does the world really need a better car? A better engineered car? Does the world really need, like, a 2% more efficient HVAC system? Like I'm a mechanical engineer. Like, does the world need that? And I feel like with everything that I've experienced, the answer is no. People need to be happy. That's what I'm realizing. I want to be happy. I want freedom. I've asked myself multiple times, like when I think about this, like what exactly do I want? And the answer is always some version of freedom. It's not a thing that I want to do, right? I feel like, if purpose is to be boiled down to, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, right? I feel like that's so like hollow. I feel like that's hollow. I feel like purpose should be more than just something that you do. It should be whatever it is that it should be a why, not a what. And if your why has a what with it, I feel like that's purpose. So that's where I've been. And if you're anything like me, welcome to the club. And for right now, I wish I could tell you what it is that we should do. Like, oh, we should commit to self improvement. We should read books, and we should all meditate, and we should do our push ups and go to the gym, and all the things that like I've heard other people say, and it's just like, does that really speak to me? Do I have a why for that? Do I have a why? Why would I do that? Like, why would I go through the effort of disciplining myself? Like, why would I do that? I okay. I gain discipline. I can do difficult things, right? But if I do difficult things and I like accustom myself to that, but at the end of the day, I don't know why I'm doing said difficult thing. When thing gets like I'm just hitting my head against the wall for the fun of it. That's like masochism if I don't have a reason to do it. And the reasoning could be like I want freedom. It's very valid reasoning. That would be my reasoning. But then there's also just friction. And you've probably experienced this if you're still watching the video. Like, I'm in college. Like I have thermodynamics to pass. Like I have fluid mechanics to pass. I have difficult things ahead of me. And not only that, like my parents have invested into me going to college. So like there's so much friction pulling me from like saying, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. Let's just go this completely foreign way that even I don't know. Like that's hard. That's hard. So I either discipline myself, right, for discipline myself in something that I don't really care all too much about, like school, right, which I've done plenty of times before, or I could deal with the pain of transitioning, the pain of change, the pain of disappointing my parents, the pain of just sheer uncertainty, and the pain of disciplining myself, and the pain of getting myself out of this situation into success. Like, I could deal with all of that pain, or I could deal with the pain of just not knowing why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's the trade-off. And one thing that I don't know quite yet is just how bad the other option is. But by the time you realize how bad the other option is, chances are it's a little too late to pivot. So I've heard. I've heard people talk about do what it is that you want to do, follow your dreams, don't compromise on them. I've heard that. I've heard it from successful people. I've heard it from rich people, heard it from poor people, heard it from people who are fulfilled, people who aren't fulfilled. And it's just like, if everybody knows this, then why didn't everybody do it? Not every rich person did it. Not every fulfilled person did it. Some people really just work a job that they don't like, but because it puts food on their family's table, they're happy. They're not doing what they want to do, and they're not compromising. And like, that's a very privileged position, to do what it is that you want to do and not compromise. That's a very privileged position. And I recognize that I'm talking from a privileged position. Because at the end of the day, I could very easily shut up, get a job, do what I have to do if people were relying on me. Or like if I was wondering where my next meal was going to come from, I would 100% just do some BS. Just to eat. It's a privileged position. And I'm very fortunate and grateful that I can speak from this position, but it also sucks. If this makes any kind of sense, if this speaks to you at all, welcome to the club. I hate it here. And I don't know how to get out. I'm gonna try to figure it out, I guess. At the top of this year, I was depressed and anxious, and I was tired of it. I've been that way for, I want to say, like 3 months or so, and I decided that I wanted to not feel that way anymore. So I looked up what I needed to do. The internet's a wonderful place sometimes. I cut out things that added to that made me feel anxious, that made me depressed. I cut out a toxic situation, a toxic relationship that, I'm not gonna lie, I really, really loved and enjoyed. I got rid of that. I cut out porn. I cut out social media, like just mindless content. Started journaling, going on walks in the morning, which is what I'm doing right now. Like, I started doing all of that, and it worked. It worked quickly. It was like 2-3 weeks when I was like, wow, like I'm actually feeling better. And that carried over until school started, because I started this on winter break. And I was very proud of myself at how thoroughly I had locked in. When I had a reason to be disciplined, to really say no to things that I had been telling myself for a long time to say no to, I was able to do it. And it didn't even feel difficult. It just felt right. And now I'm struggling with that again. Struggling with locking in on things that I quote unquote should lock in on. I held strong to that kind of protocol. You can kind of see it somewhat detailed out in the previous videos on this channel, but I held strong to that protocol even after even after the gap of even when I stopped recording videos. And eventually school happened, and I was maintaining it through school. I was on my P's and Q's. I was doing what I needed to do. And then I got sick. Just a common cold for like a week. I was on my butt, and I came back and I was behind in all my classes, and I had to catch up. And catching up at this point in my curriculum is very, very difficult. And I asked myself, why am I doing this? Once I started to see just how difficult it was keeping up with the pace of all my classes, I asked myself, like, why am I doing this? It was hard. And if I'm gonna do something difficult, I need to know why. That's just how I am. And I couldn't find it. I had obsessed over mental health and trying to fix my mental health. And I had obsessed over it so much that I had locked in on it. And I couldn't do the same thing for school. I just didn't have that same kind of passion, that same kind of zeal, that same why. I didn't have an answer. And knowing that about myself and the other things that I've locked in on harder, that were harder, it makes me question if this is worth doing to begin with and what I actually need to spend my time doing. In that questioning, I'm reminded of like something that I heard in a video I was watching. And it was, you need to choose, especially when you're young, you need to choose which bus you get on, who you believe, who you let in your ear. And in my mind, there are like two prominent kind of buses that I could get on. There is the path of, all right, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna get a good job, I'm gonna provide for my family, then I'm gonna retire, and then when I retire, I'm gonna have fun. But I'm going to build through my career that I got, in college. I'm gonna build through that, and then eventually I'm gonna retire. And then there's the other school of thought, where actually, let me turn around. There's this other school of thought, this other bus that I could get on, that says, you do what it is that you want to do at the highest possible level. And then from there, success has no reason, has no choice but to follow you. I've been on the bus of school, college, retire, fun. School, college, career, retire, fun. I've been on that bus already, and it frustrates me so much. It frustrates me because I can only hold one thing in my mind at a time. I'm very, very much obsessive, and I can't obsess over this. I can't obsess over this. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So maybe I need to change buses. Maybe if you're anything like me, you need to change buses. Just do what it is that you want to do. Go all in. Put all your cards on the table. Because you know that when you commit to something, there's not really much that can stand in your way. I think that's what I'm going to do, actually. Because I can't do this anymore. I genuinely can't. The only reason that I've tried making this video like 4 times. The only reason why I'm actually making it this time and I'm posting it and I'm finding different places to record in along this walk where the road noise isn't all that bad is just because I'm that fed up. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I can't do this anymore. So yeah, if you're anything like me, if you're ambitious, but you feel lost, maybe you need to get on another bus. And maybe you should come along for my journey because I need to get off this bus as well. So y'all have a good one, I guess. See y'all soon.